Hey y'all, welcome to my first video. Today we're going to be painting They Clone Tyrone. The original artist is Mike Artworks. This nail set took me about 20 hours and actually went super viral on Twitter, so I'm super proud of it. Usually when I start my nail sets, I grab the V2V XXL press-on tips and a skin tone color. In this case, I'll be using Vetro International in the shade Luna. It's just a super cool tone, neutral tone that will be easy to cover and easy to sketch on top of. So it's usually my go-to anytime I have a set that involves a lot of colors. So I cover the nails with this and then I go over it with a matte top coat. I don't know what the matte top coat does. I saw another nail tech do it. I can't tell you which one, but I see y'all do it, and I've never drawn before nails, so anything I see y'all do sometimes, I have to pick it up and try it to see if it works for me. So I do a matte top coat and sketch on top of it. I don't know the logistics behind it. I don't know why it works. I don't know what it does, but like I said, I saw someone do it, so I started doing it and I like the results. So okay, so here I'm just showing y'all that I knew this nail set was going to be a job. So I went ahead and did myself the favor of mapping it out. That way when I'm drawing, I know that everyone's going to be able to fit in this nail set instead of painting. And then as I'm going along, I realized that I made them too big or too small. So I just mapped it out on my iPad. And if you guys want tips on how to do that, I'll be more than happy to help. But yeah, so I just went ahead and did myself the favor of doing this just to save myself any heartbreak, and I still ended up messing up, but y'all see. And I grabbed the V2V color painting gel in the shade 103. This is my go-to color for sketching. It's just super easy to cover. It's just the perfect brown. It's not too dark, it's not too light. The perfect sketch color. And for this whole nail set, I use all V2V color painting gels. We just go together. Something about the consistency, the way that it blends, it just works with me, and it works with how I do my art and how I blend my art. So it's 9 times out of 10 the products that I'm using whenever you see me create something. And that's not just because it's my brand. I curated V2V under the pretense of me being an artist myself and just needing a product that works best for me, and putting it out there for others as well who may also be looking for painting gels or just easy to use products. So that was the intent behind that. Here I'm also using a 9mm brush just because anything that involves fine details, I love small brushes. Rarely do I use a detail brush. That's usually when I'm filling in like big colors. It's mostly with characters, but for portraits, I'm mostly using a 9mm brush. Even when I'm painting like the actual person, not just sketching, I'm more than likely using this brush just because it gets really fine lines and it gets super detailed. So that's why I love using the 9mm brush. And yeah. I'm sketching, I don't look at the picture as a whole. I kind of look at each individual shape. So each individual half circle, each individual line, because it doesn't look as challenging to me because I know how to draw a line, I know how to draw a circle. So it's kind of like a lot of pieces that I'm putting together to complete the puzzle. I find that when you look at a picture as a whole and try to copy it exactly, it can be a little bit overwhelming. So kind of breaking it down line by line, piece by piece is usually the easiest thing for me. So note that my sketches are intended just to have placement. It's not to be like a perfect, what's the word? It's not a perfect copy like of what I'm drawing. It's just so that I know where everything's going to be. I'm gonna let y'all know now, I couldn't even stick to this sketching. Y'all gonna see I messed up this set like 3 times, but y'all gonna see I finessed it. Ultimately, just know this sketch ended up not even working and we ended up having to finesse it. Here are all the colors that I'm using. Like I said, I only use V2V color painting gels. It just works best for me. It works for my style of blending that I do. And I just stick to what I'm most comfortable with, and that's this product right here. And that's what I use almost all the time. And now we're gonna get to the nitty gritty of painting. I always start off in the top left corner. I don't know why. I don't know what that does for me, but that's usually where I start. It's kind of like my anchor point. If that piece and that eye over there starts off good, then I know the rest of my portrait's going to be good. So I usually start over there. It's very safe for me, and yeah. And I also want to make a point that learning color theory is super important when painting portraits. Just understanding like skin tones, undertones, how to create different undertones is key when painting realistic portraits. I personally learned through TikTok. There's this guy on TikTok, he'll have like a color and then he'll mix different paints until he gets that exact color. And how I learned is when he would show us the color, I would just start guessing what he's going to be using or what colors he's going to use to end up with that color. So that's how I got comfortable with color matching, and I'll link his TikTok below so you guys can also look at what I'm talking about, because like I said, I'm not good at explaining things. But yes, also pay attention to when I'm blending. I always most of the time, I don't know how to really describe it, but when I'm making colors or like skin tones, I'll have skin tone and then I'll make several variations from that skin tone. So I don't know if that kind of helps me with my blending or what the science is behind that, but a lot of the times I'm not really making like a whole new color in and of itself. If it involves the skin, I usually have the first skin tone color that I make and then I blend in different variations off of that color. And I also do a lot of wet blending. So what that means is I can go a very, very long time without curing whatever art I created in the lamp. So it's my portrait, I guess, is usually wet for a lot of the time. So like I'll be painting and then I'll blend in that color into there, and here I'm blending out that edge. And why I'm blending out that edge is because I know that when I go back and layer a color on top of that, I want it to kind of blend over it instead of it being kind of like layered. Because sometimes if you leave the end of that color thick, then you try to put a color on top, it won't be an even blend. So that's why sometimes I feather out that the end of a color, because I know I'm gonna have to place something on top. So while I'm working, I guess I'll tell y'all a little bit about myself. Just chop it up with you real quick. So my name's Victoria. I'm a nail tech, nail artist now. I call myself a nail stylist, actually. I started drawing like within the last year and a half. That's why I said I'm very new to it, so I can't really give like formal techniques. I just, do what works for me. I work as a crisis counselor. I have a master's in psychology. I have a bachelor's in criminology. I really am going to look into see if maybe I could tell y'all like stories from my job, because it's never a boring day. Like I've been on the phone when someone got tased, kids cutting up. I done heard things that so I'm gonna look in to see if I'd be able to tell y'all about that. And also, since this is my first video, you're more than welcome to leave me a comment about feedback on what you'd like to see or maybe what I could do differently. You won't hurt my feelings. I'm the type of person that asks my friends like, hey, is this nail set ugly? Like, does this Jamie Foxx portrait look like 5-year-old foreign? Like, I'm open to complete honesty. So y'all can let me know how I'm doing or what I could do differently. You're not gonna hurt my feelings. I'm sure someone's gonna ask me what my sign is. I'm a Libra. I don't know, what that really means, but I'm a Libra, and yeah. So back to business. I want to let y'all know now. When you see me put this brush in between my fingers, do not do that. And I've been really trying to get out of that habit, because I think it's overexposure. Like, putting uncured products on your skin can cause all types of dermatitis. Don't do that. I developed that bad habit when I started drawing, and I've been really trying to shake it. I do it less now, and it's not even like I'm putting a lot of product on my finger. I really do it to like thin out the brush some, but just don't do that. And it's a habit that I've been trying to kick, and I hate watching myself do this right now. But yeah, just don't do that. I'm trying to lead by example. Don't do as I say, not as I do. Don't put that brush between your fingers. Wipe it off with like a lint-free wipe, or wipe it off on your palette. please don't put uncured products on your skin. And for palette, while we're on that topic, I use a 10-cent tile from Lowe's. It has like a glossy finish on it, so it's easy to wipe off with like acetone or alcohol. And yeah, so go to Lowe's, go to your local Home Depot. You can get like an XL palette for like $1, and it works the same. It's my fave. I love it. I will never use anything different. And remember earlier when I said that like when I finish the first eye, it kind of helps as like an anchor point for the next feature. So now I'm going to start working on the nose, and I feel like it's so much easier now that I have this eye done. I can kind of understand what colors I'm working with and, you know, what tones I'm going to be using. So with the nose, I always start off with, I guess it would be like the base skin tone. So not like the shadowing, not any of that, just kind of like a flat color. And on top of that, that's when I start to build like a mid-tone shadowing, then go in with like highlights down the bridge of the nose, and then filling in the nostrils. Noses are the hardest thing to learn. I don't know if it's because it involves so many different shades. I don't know if it's because like if you mess up like the contour shape of the nose, you get a completely different shape. But it was one of the hardest things for me to learn. Ultimately, I think learning the colors and learning the placement of the colors is what really helped my noses. Hopefully that makes a bit of sense. But yeah, so I start off with this base color, and then I build up a lot of different shades on top of it. The importance of feathering out like the edge of colors. This is why. Do you see how I was able to seamlessly blend that base color of the nose into the forehead? I feel like if you don't feather out the edge of that color, it gets kind of hard layering colors, because one layer might be thicker than the other, and then you have to build up on top, and now you just have a really thick layer on the forehead or just on the portrait period. So I like to make sure that I'm just always feathering out the ends of whatever I'm doing, just so that when I layer on the next color, I won't have any trouble blending it. And once again, remember when I said I do a lot of wet blending? I'm doing that here as well. So on top of the base color, now I'm doing kind of like a mid-tone. So not the shadow, but right in between, just to add a little bit of dimension to the nose. I will do a darker color on top of this, and then the highlight color. But this mid-tone is, I guess it's just kind of there to add dimension to the nose. And eventually, after playing around with, putting different colors down, you get a nose somewhere along this process. Like I said, it's just layering a bunch of colors, figuring out what goes where, what shadow goes where, what contrast goes here, what highlight goes here. And now I'm adding the highlight to the bridge of the nose. And I'm not using just flat, I'm sorry, I'm out of the frame, but I'm not using just flat out white. A lot of these portraits are kind of orangey, yellowy tones. So I'm actually mixing in a bit of yellow with the white, just so that it's not just flat out white. And now that the first eye is completed, I thought I was going to start that second eye, but y'all, I swear, I don't know what happens, but the second eye is always the hardest for me. It usually comes out a little bit janky, but I started it and acted like I was about to start the second eye, but literally, you're going to see in the video, I was like, that's a little bit too much for me right now. So I started working on like an easier part before I went back and started on the eye, because I swear to y'all, it's literally so hard for me to get them like symmetrical. So yeah, like I said, wasn't in the mood for that second eye, so I started working on the cheek, which was honestly super easy. I mean, it wasn't a big space, just needed like a little mid-tone color, light shadowing, and that was pretty much it. So it was a good vibe over here. Then filling in Mr. Fox's hair, I'm just using like a regular black, but this detail brush kind of was can I cuss? I don't know, but it kind of sucked because it was like flaring out, and I don't know why, but it just wasn't hot, so it was making my black kind of streaky, and it was hard to apply or fill in this color using this detail brush. So I think I ended up having to go over it with another layer, but that's okay, no biggie. And for his hairline, you see that dark line right there? I end up fixing that, and how I did that was taking, I think, like a little bit of base coat or top coat, mixing it with a little black, and then putting that around his hairline area to kind of soften it a bit and make like a very, 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 very light shadow and break up that harshness of that line a little bit. And here I'm going to start stippling like the edges of his hair to kind of add a little bit of texture so that it's not just straight across line, because if it's straight across, like I said, that looks kind of cartoony. So just stippling randomly to just kind of add like a little bit of puffiness and a little bit of texture to his hair. The first portrait was kind of the most detailed because the rest is just kind of repetitive. And what I mean by that is it's the same routine of wet blending, figuring out the skin tones, the placement of everything, and just filling in the sketch basically. Like I said, if you guys need or would like specific topics for me to talk about, you're more than welcome to comment, and I'd be more than happy to, you know, create whatever you guys are looking for, whatever I can help with. But for my first video, I don't know what y'all like. I don't want to be boring, so I'm just kind of winging it, kind of figuring out what you guys are looking for. So starting the same thing, like I said, top corner, and I work my way from there. Since it's a half face, I did this kind of quickly. It didn't take too much time, so yeah. Now, this is where I started losing my mind with this set. If I have to be 100% honest, 100% transparent, this is where things started to go left. Like, I don't know if it was the vibe. I don't know if, like, because this was like day 2. As you can see, my palette is fresh. Like, this is day 2. And when I tell y'all this set was whooping my ASSS, I could not get a good flow of things. I was struggling with my placement of things. I was making things larger outside of the sketch. Like, it was just all very overwhelming, and I wanted to give up on this set so many times, but I just kept going, and it didn't turn out bad. There were definitely a few mistakes that I wish I would have corrected, but it was just so draining and so tiring. But and a lot of this is going to be out of frame because I'm telling y'all, I was literally losing my mind with this nail set. Like, the vibe was different. I wanted to give up. I was tired, but I wanted this set to work out so bad that I just kept going, and I'm glad that I did. Like, in the end, it was all worth it. But oh my god, like, literally I was losing my mind during this set. Once again, y'all, literally losing my mind over this set. This is another day. This is day 3. And at this point, I had to stop on day 2 because, like I said, the vibe was off. I was overwhelmed. I don't know what happened. Like, the vibe shifted when I was creating this nail set, and I started to doubt myself. And I think that's really what happened, is that when I started working and, you know, thoughts of doubt started entering my mind, and it started to show in my work, and I was just getting really upset with myself. Like I said, don't wipe your finger with that brush. Don't do that. But yeah, if I have to just be 100% honest, like, I really was getting drained and beat up with this nail set. So this is day 3. If you look at my palette, it looks chaotic. It doesn't look how it did on that first nail set when I was very confident and I felt really good about this nail set. So, and that happens to me a lot, and sometimes I have to take some days off, and that's what happened to this set as well. I had to take maybe like a day or two off away from it just to clear my head and come back to it because I was so overwhelmed by it. And working on lips and teeth is like another thing that I've really been struggling with. So not only did this man have like grills, I've never painted grills, so I'm trying to figure out like what colors to put where, what highlights to put where, what shadows, like it. And I know y'all probably like, girl, why do you keep complaining about this set? Y'all, I don't know how else to explain that this set really was like whooping my ass. Like seriously, like it jumped me, like it just had no business. And it just, I'm not gonna keep complaining about it, I promise I'm done. But just know a lot went into this, and I'm so happy with how it turned out, and I'm so glad that you guys liked it. And now everything comes together when you add a beautiful, shiny top coat on top of your art. It blends everything together and makes your art come to life, and I am in love. At this point, I'm like, oh my God, I snapped. This is the best nails that I've ever done. Everything was so worth it. We're like 20 hours in at this point. We've spent so many days working on this. We've had so many trials and tribulations, but we overcame, and I could not be happier. Like, I was calling my friend. I'm like, this is the best that I've ever done. And like I said, I am sorry that I didn't record each face, but this video would have been like 2 hours long because it was so much footage. So there you guys go. That's how this set turned out. It actually went super viral on Twitter, and I'm so happy with how it came out. The artist saw it as well, Mike Artworks. So, I get to finally say it. Comment, like, and subscribe to my channel, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye.